I'm Jason Epperson. This is RV Miles, and it's time to answer your questions and comments from the last month's videos. Welcome back, everybody. This is one of my favorite episodes that we do every month where I get to go back and look at all the comments from the last month's videos and answer some questions, cover things that I missed that you let me know about in the comments, and just point out some really fun and interesting ones. First up, this one is from our video that we did on cruise control and whether you should use cruise control while towing. One thing you didn't mention, never use lane keeping features when towing. Most newer vehicles automatically turn this off in tow haul mode, but if it's left on, it can cause sway to be exaggerated and you can lose control quickly. I'm not sure if I totally agree with you here on this. It's a technology, like all of these driver assistance technologies, that develops over time. I've driven older vehicles with terrible lane keeping assistance that feels like you have a flat tire and you just want to turn it off. And I've driven newer ones with fantastic lane keeping assistance. Our last Ford truck had lane keeping assistance. It was an F-250. So it had that overlay motor that helps keep you centered, but also tightens up the steering the faster you go. So there's some interesting things happening like that. And as technology improves over time, it does get designed to work with towing. And a great example of this is Chevy's Super Cruise. So Chevy and Ford now have versions of really the next generation of what lane keeping assistance is hands-free driving. And Chevy's Super Cruise can be used while towing and is designed to be used. So the bottom line is read your user manual and do what your user manual says, because this stuff does change year by year and vehicle by vehicle. And even within the same brand, there's going to be different features. And there are going to be situations, just like with cruise control, where you don't want to use lane keeping assistance, perhaps while you're driving over mountainous, hilly territory or curves, or there's bad weather, it's rainy, it's wet, slippery, all that sort of stuff. You might want to avoid using that sort of feature. But again, just follow what your vehicle owner's manual says, and you should be good to go. This is from the video I did on sanitizing your water system and whether you can actually get drinkable water out of your water tank. This was from quite a while back, but the comment was recent. How close to camping should I sanitize? Can I do it a week ahead of time? Yeah, absolutely. The general rule of thumb is that you should be sanitizing your water system anytime that you don't use your RV for a month or more. And if you're somebody that's using it seasonally or full time, you should be sanitizing your water system quarterly. So that 1 month rule of thumb generally means that your water system is pretty good to go if you leave it alone for a month at a time. So that would say to me that you can sanitize your water system up to a month in advance of a camping trip. Obviously, the closer the better, and the longer water sits, the more chance it has to grow bacteria. But there's no issue with sanitizing your water system a week out. Absolutely fine. This from the video I did on diesel fuel and all the different things that you might want to think about when it comes to diesel fuel. I need dad advice. I'm going to ask a dumb question, but here it goes. I need to store diesel in a standard red fuel container. How long is it good for inside the container? Well, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much for considering me somebody who could offer dad advice. Don't get a red container, get a yellow container. Yellow is for diesel. That's so you don't confuse them and somebody doesn't accidentally put diesel in a gasoline vehicle or gasoline in a diesel vehicle. So get the yellow container and put the diesel in there. Diesel's going to be good for 6 to 12 months. I generally don't like to have it sit much longer than 6 months. If I'm putting it in like my truck that's got, a very expensive fuel system. But if you were putting it in an old tractor or something like that, maybe I would care a little less. So I wouldn't store it for a whole lot longer than 6 months. And you should really try to avoid using biodiesel if possible. That's the one problem with storage, is that biodiesel can grow organic deposits that you don't want running through your fuel system. From the video I did on railroad crossing safety, I'm really surprised and welcome and thankful for the feedback that I got on this video. It's never going to be a video that's going to get 100,000 views or anything like that, but I think the message was really important, and I think a lot of you agreed. I'd like to add some more information about railroad grade crossing. I was a signal maintainer on the Upper Midwest Signal Safety Committee for the BNSF. When the grade crossing lights come on, the train will be at the crossing in approximately 20 seconds. This is FRA regulation. The timing starts when the first light on the crossing comes on and not when the gates become horizontal. It takes the gates about 7 to 10 seconds to get horizontal. So basically what we're saying here is don't be like, oh, the gates are about to come down, I can make it under them. In the 20 years that I was a maintainer, I saw my share of accidents, and the majority was at a crossing with gates. People believe me when I say the train wins. It doesn't matter how slow or fast. The faster the train, the further you will end up down the tracks. A fully loaded freight train doing 60 miles per hour will take 2 miles to stop unless it derails. Jason, thank you for taking the time to record this. This information really needs to get out, and your research was spot on. Well, thank you very much for the comment. I don't have anything to add to this. I just thought it was a really great comment and some really great additional information that people might like to know. If you haven't checked that video out, please do. I think it's really important. And there are some things that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to towing a long RV or driving a motorhome for the first time. More in a moment, but first, this episode is sponsored by RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. Get a real mattress for your RV instead of the cheap piece of foam that it came with at RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding. They sell real mattresses in all the odd sizes RVs require, like short kings, Olympic queens, odd bunk sizes, different thicknesses, and more. Their mattresses are toxin-free, made in their factory in Arizona, and shipped to you vacuum-sealed wherever you are. You just unwrap them and let them expand. They have a 120-night sleep trial, free shipping, and a limited lifetime warranty. But the best part is the RV Miles community gets 30% off, the best deal they ever offer, any day of the year with code RVMiles at RVmattress.com/RVMiles. That's RVmattress.com/RVMiles with code RVMiles at checkout for 30% off. Thanks for the great camping and outdoor news. Speaking of higher fees, this was from a video I did that was talking about higher fees at Oregon State campgrounds. Just got back from camping in the Northeast U.S. area. We noticed an additional kid fee numerous times. We have 4 kiddos and haven't seen this much until now. Is it an Eastern U.S. thing or is it a growing trend? They are saying the campsite price only includes 2 adults and 2 kids. It's not like we're bringing extra neighbor kids. These are our biological kids. Have you come across this having 3 kids? Absolutely. We come across this all the time, and we have for several years. It is a growing trend, especially at RV resorts. Often it will be a fee of $6, $7 a night for each kid beyond 2. Sometimes it will be for any person beyond 2 people. Sometimes 4 kids will be included. It really just depends on the place. It's a frustrating thing. It's an annoying thing. A lot of full-time families call this a kid tax. The Full-Time Families Organization, which you can become a member of, even if you're not a full-time traveling family, they have made a relationship with a lot of campgrounds that maybe have a fee like this to remove that fee if you're a member. So check out becoming a member of them. But it is annoying to have those little extra fees because, yeah, I mean, is my 3rd kid using $7 a night worth of extra water and electricity? I don't think so. From a news video talking about RV shipments and the sort of situation this year where RV shipments have been outpacing sales, though some news on that in the next RV and camping news video. I'm glad you admitted shipments ain't sales. Also, why is repair time getting better? You never said, but I'll not leave you in the dark. RVs aren't selling, so dealers aren't making money. They now have to get real work done to get paid, whether via warranty or out of the customer's pocket. So if sales ever go up, service will decline again. So don't get giddy and say that RV dealers are better. They're desperate for cash is all it is. Look, first of all, I didn't admit shipments aren't sales. I'm not working for the RV industry here. I say all the time when I talk about shipment numbers aren't sales. So it will be interesting to see what happens when the sales numbers come out. Shipments are RVs being produced. Sales are RVs being sold. Repair times are getting better, yes, because RVs aren't selling as much, but it's not because they're trying to make more money on service. Service is a losing battle in the RV industry, and that's part of the problem because warranty work just doesn't pay very well, and it takes a long time to diagnose problems, and they don't like having these RVs sitting on their lots. Believe me, dealers want to solve this problem, but it is because RVs aren't selling as well. But the reason is that a lot of the service work that RV dealers do, perhaps even most of the work that RV dealers do, is on new units. When those new units come in, the RV dealer is sort of the end of the assembly line. So they have to, after it's taken the journey from the manufacturer to that dealership, then they have to, some of them do it right away. Some of them wait for the sale. They have to clean the unit. They have to go in and touch up anything that has happened on that ride. They test all the systems and, they pressurize the water, the propane and all that sort of stuff and make sure everything works. And then there are always problems. And when there are fewer RVs being sold, there's less of that pre-delivery service work being done. It's not that it pays them more. It's not that they're profiting massively off of service. It's just that they don't have as many units coming in and out to do that with. This from the video on dealing with your RV toilet, how to clean it, how to use it, all that sort of stuff. Thank you for this very useful video. So maybe I'm making one mistake. I've always added the treatment, meaning the scent treatment, whatever the tank treatment you use is, at the beginning of our stay and not after we're done using the RV. We maybe go 5-6 trips a year, and I've always added the treatment at the start of our trip, then drain at the station, throw some water in for the way home, and let it bounce around, and then drain and flush the tank at home. Is this when I should add the treatment? Thanks. Yeah, I think you should always have it. Look, this is not a requirement to use this at all. It's not a rule that you have to use any sort of treatment, and some people don't. Some people just use water. But what I like to do is have water and treatment in my tank at all times. If you are somebody who does entirely drain your tank at home, and you sort of let it dry out, what you should do then, don't put treatment in then. When you drain your tank, then what you want to do is get one of these caps that have vent holes in them. And this is to keep like mice and bugs from going up in there, but they're caps, sewer caps that you can put on that have vent holes in them. You can put that sewer cap on, leave your tanks open and let them actually dry out for real. And that will keep the smell away, because the residue that is always left behind is what makes smells happen. So I think either of those methods, leaving water and treatment in or letting your tank dry out, are probably the best couple of methods out there, in my opinion. Just remember that your tank valves are open when you go to use the toilet for the first time, or when you go to sort of fill your black tank up with some water the first time. This from the video that we did on weather safety. Never take shelter by parking under an overpass. It narrows the road and creates a bottleneck for oncoming traffic. Great tip. Also, it is a terrible place to be in a tornado. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to climb up under that little space under the overpass if a tornado is in the vicinity and I'm going to be incredibly safe. No, it's been proven many times that actually, there's a huge vacuum comes through there and you'll just get ripped right out of there, and it's an absolutely terrible place to be. From the same video, you did not mention four-wheel drive vehicles being exempt from tire chain requirements. You can put them on all four wheels of your tow vehicle if you want, but if it's that slippery, your trailer is probably going to try to pass you. If you put them on your trailer, they'll shake apart. Best advice is don't tow in the snow. Stay where you are until the road's clear. Yes, four-wheel drive vehicles are exempt if they have snow tires on them in some places. Not everywhere. So, you need to know what the rules are in the scenario. It might seem odd to some people that anybody would be RVing in this scenario. But the point of this section of the video was about the fact that there are tire chain laws, whether it's snowing or not. You might need to be carrying chains. Even if you will absolutely never use them, it might be the law that you have to carry chains through a certain area during certain months of the year. Yes, often four-wheel drive vehicles are exempt, but not always. And a lot of people do end up RVing in these scenarios. I mean, imagine you live in Seattle and you're a snowbird and you go south for the winter, but you don't leave until after Thanksgiving or after Christmas. That's a very, very common thing. And it's not about towing all the time either. A lot of people have small motorhomes. Maybe you have a truck camper, maybe you have a Class C camper van, and you do go through some of these areas in the winter. There are tire chain laws that you need to know about. Also from that video, you didn't mention apps like Windy, which will forecast wind and wind gust speeds in the coming days. We only had to use it twice when heading home into predicted 75-mile-per-hour gusts One of those times was the hurricane that hit North Carolina and Tennessee. Both times we stopped overnight and camped. That forecast was 45-mile-per-hour gusts. Yeah, there are lots of great apps out there that I didn't mention. Windy is one of them. Weather on the Route is another one of them. There are options for actually putting in your route and seeing what the weather will be along your route instead of just randomly looking at the weather and picking different cities that you might be going through. You can actually see the weather on your route and what times some of that weather will hit. This from the tour that we did of our new 37 RV Miles fifth wheel that we worked with Sabre on producing. Great video, thanks. For such a large living area, are you satisfied with the two 15K ACs? Also, any ideas on partially cooling while on the road? Is it possible? Thanks again for a great video. I appreciate you had to stick to your guns to make this a reality. Yeah, look, 3 ACs is gonna be able to cool you down better than 2. Generally, with 2 ACs and a big RV, you can expect maybe that you're gonna reduce the temperature by 15 degrees or so. So if it's 95 degrees out, you might only get down to 80 degrees. And that might not be enough for a lot of people. We tend to try to avoid 95-degree weather, but it certainly happened. And that just depends on the unit and depends on how you use it. I mean, like one of our air conditioners is just really in our bedroom and bathroom. So if we really want to be cool, we can just be up there. But we haven't had an issue with that at all. Of course, it's more money to have a third air conditioner. In terms of cooling down on the road, you know, we have a great upgraded solar and battery system from the folks at ABC Upfitters out of Elkhart, Indiana. They work with Mastervolt, so everything is a Mastervolt product. It's a great company. Everything works so well. And what is nice about the setup is we do have enough battery power that I can run one air conditioner off of the battery system. And I could do that, and I actually did do that a couple months ago on a travel day. I can turn an air conditioner on and let it run while I'm driving. And that's also when I'm getting some of the best solar, and I've got my DC to DC charger between my truck and my trailer that has helped keeping the batteries running during that time and allows me to do that. But it's a big pricey upgrade, so not everybody has the ability to do that. One of the best things you can do, one of the cheapest things that you can do if you've got the vent fans in your RV, everybody's got vent fans in their RV, but if you got vent fans and it doesn't have the shroud over it, get the shroud, because the shroud allows you to have it open while you're traveling, allows you to have it open in the rain. You can have the fans running inside your rig while you're driving down the road, and that makes a huge difference, a massive, massive difference. And finally, a comment from our podcast. We have the RV Miles podcast over on its own YouTube channel, and you can find it on any podcast app. Warning, this is the driest conversation I ever heard. Nothing educational here. 30 minutes, you'll never get back. Hey, most of our episodes are an hour long or more. So if that's the kind of conversation you like, I hope you'll come check us out over on the RV Miles podcast to help you pass the time in your day. Also want to remind you that our homecoming event is coming up at the end of September. There's only a little bit of time left to register. It's the last week of September in Amana, Iowa, right in the middle of the country, right off of I-80. We have a great time celebrating the traditional end of the camping season. Lots of door prizes, seminars, a live recording of this very boring podcast, and so much more. And we hope to see you there. Also want to remind you that our mile marker members get some extra bonus podcasts. So if you want even more dry, boring content, we give you extra dry, boring content. If you're a mile marker member, we have a live stream every month. That live stream is actually happening this Monday night, August 18th. So if you want to join us there, become a mile marker member. It's $7 a month or $70 a year. And it's just a great way that people support what we do. We really, really appreciate it. Mile marker members are really what makes this content that we put out there possible. So thanks so much to them, and thanks so much to you for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.